When talking about the Big Ten, there's always three teams that come to mind this season: Penn State, Oregon, and Ohio State. However, there's one Big Ten team out there that I firmly believe is going to fly under the radar and realistically compete with those three teams late in the season in November for a spot in the Big Ten championship. That team is the Fighting Illini of Illinois. Every year, there's those one or two teams that come out of absolutely nowhere and make a playoff push or even secure a spot in the college football playoff. Now, you saw that with SMU and you saw that with Indiana last year. But let's face it, y'all. When it comes to the top of the Power Four, there's two different tiers. There's your programs that are factories of talents. You know who they are. Your Texases, your Georgias, your Alabamas, your Ohio States, your Oregons. And then there's your teams that can compete with them, but they need certain things to go their way. I'm a big weather buff. I'm a big weather guy. And through that passion, I've learned that there's a lot of elements that need to align for a tornado to occur. And the same can be said for teams that are on the same tier as an Illinois or an SMU or an Indiana to make a push for a conference championship and a spot in the college football playoff. However, when you really examine Illinois, they have all those elements. And I think they're going to effortlessly intersect this year. Hear me out. First and foremost, and I think this may be the most important factor of all, Illinois has a really favorable schedule this year. Hear me out. They don't have to play Penn State. They don't have to play Michigan. They don't have to play Oregon. That's a massive break. Those are three teams that are going to be competing for a Big Ten championship this year that Illinois won't have to see at all this year. It's very similar to SMU last year, not having to see Clemson, not having to see Miami, or not having to see Clemson until the ACC championship at least. Yes, they play Ohio State, but they get Ohio State at home, and Illinois' November is very favorable. They've got Rutgers, Maryland, Wisconsin, and Northwestern in the month of November. So that's a huge opportunity for the Fighting Illini to build up momentum as they go into December and make that final playoff push. Returning production. Again, that's a metric that I always love to use at this time of year. And Illinois is in the top 5. They have 76% returning production, including quarterback Luke Altmaier, left tackle J.C. Davis, and defensive back Xavier Scott. Those are key names in Illinois' 10-win season last year that are coming back this year to try to run it back. Illinois is also great in the trenches, and they have a lot of guys returning on both the offensive and the defensive line. That's really important, especially because Illinois is one of those old-school ground-and-pound, hitch-in-the-mouth kind of football teams. That's the identity that their head coach, Brett Bielema, has forged into the Fighting Illini, and they display it every week. Illinois is no fun to play because that defense wears you down, they hit you hard, and they have that bowling ball style offense that's more reliant on the run game than it is the passing game because the run game is more effective. It's the lifeblood of that offense. But that style of football, while it's not electrifying to watch, it's not exciting to watch, it wins because it wears opponents down. And to effectively play that style of football, that old school style of football, you need a great offensive line and you need a great defensive line. Illinois has both of those. They know that truth that we always exclaim on this channel. Success starts in the trenches. Illinois has it buttoned up in the trenches. And so, for that reason, I think they'll flourish as a dark horse this year. Illinois' trajectory over these past several years is an illustration of a trend that we've been seeing as a result of NIL. Historically, when an institution like Illinois, who's not necessarily known for their football program just yet, has a 10-win season, a lot of the guys on that team will say, hey, I'm going to ride the wave of momentum of this season, maximize my value, and enter the NFL draft while I have this momentum here. That's what we've seen in past years. But the presence of NIL has changed that. Now guys will play on Illinois, experience a 10-win season, and say, hey, I want to run it back with the Illini. Because the financial benefits that they're experiencing from staying an extra year of college can potentially outweigh or outperform the financial benefits of trying to go to the NFL. They'll make more in college now than they will in the NFL because a lot of guys, we know how hard it is to get into the NFL. A lot of guys won't make it. You've got one shot. If you don't get drafted and you don't make it in rookie minicamp, you don't make it, period. And that money train comes to an end. If you stay the extra year at Illinois, those financial benefits are guaranteed. And there's so many different ways that through NIL guys can build a brand and leverage that brand value by staying in college another year. That name, that logo builds a platform for them that if they forewent that opportunity to stay the extra year, try to get in the NFL and make it, they would not have that brand affiliation anymore. So guys are looking at this big picture and they're saying, why try to go pro when I'm not guaranteed to make it? And if I do, I may be making less than I would if I stayed at Illinois. Guys are staying an extra year now. Might it be for completely all the right reasons? Who knows? Some guys may genuinely love that name on the front of their jersey, but some guys are like, hey, I may be able to make more of a bag by staying than if I win. And you know what? In the case of Illinois, that's okay. Because they're keeping the gang together. They've got 76% of those guys staying. And as we all know, in any sport, those teams that have experience are going to flourish and elevate down the line, and they have a huge advantage over younger teams. And we see that especially in college sports, football and basketball. Illinois' got a really old senior team this year, and it's going to be a major advantage for them going into this season. When you look at all of these elements for Illinois going into this season, like I said earlier in this video, they all align. And for that reason, I see the Illinois Fighting Illini being the ultimate dark horse going into this season. They're going to be that team that comes out of absolutely nowhere. And you look in November, and they're 10-1 going into Week 13, and ranked number 6 or number 7 in the country. And everybody's like, wow, where did this Illinois team come from? Well, you heard it here first on the Era. I love what they're cooking up in Illinois right now. Let me know what y'all think about this take in the comment section below. From Fort Worth, this is Brian Gregory. Have a great day.